A British Prime Minister just broke, on live television, in front of the entire world. What happened next has never occurred in 300 years of Parliament, and it could end his career in the next 72 hours. Wednesday afternoon, Westminster Hall. The cameras are live. Prime Minister Keir Starmer sits on the green benches, surrounded by hundreds of MPs. Across from him, Nigel Farage rises to speak. No shouting, no theatrics, just cold, hard numbers. Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister promised to stop the boats. This year alone, 45,000 illegal crossings, deportation flights cancelled, hotel costs billions, and now leaked documents reveal secret negotiations to rejoin EU migration schemes. Each sentence lands like a punch. Starmer shifts uncomfortably. His face reddens. Farage continues, his voice calm but cutting. The British people voted for border control. Instead, they got betrayal dressed up as compassion. When will the Prime Minister admit his policies have completely failed? Standard political combat. Sharp, but nothing unusual for Parliament. Then Keir Starmer detonates. If you think you know how this ends, hit subscribe. Because what comes next will rewrite British political history forever. He doesn't wait his turn. He doesn't follow protocol. He erupts from his seat, finger shaking, voice cracking. How dare you, Starmer screams. Not speaks, screams. How dare you lecture this government about compassion when all you do is spread hatred and division? The chamber goes silent. MPs freeze. This isn't debate anymore. This is a man unravelling in real time. But Starmer keeps going. His voice climbs higher. You have no right to speak about British values. You've spent your entire career tearing this country apart. You're a disgrace. Veteran MPs who've served for decades sit with their mouths open. Conservative benches stare in shock. Even Labour MPs look horrified at their own Prime Minister. Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle tries to regain control. The Prime Minister will resume his seat immediately. Starmer ignores him completely. Instead, he steps forward, still pointing, still shouting, spit visible at the corners of his mouth. The most powerful man in Britain is having a complete psychological breakdown on live television. That's when Speaker Hoyle invokes a rule so ancient, most MPs forgot it existed. Standing Order 43. It gives the Speaker absolute authority to physically remove any member who refuses to maintain order, including the Prime Minister. Under Standing Order 43, Hoyle declares, cutting through the chaos, I am directing the Prime Minister to withdraw from the chamber immediately. Dead silence. Camera shutters click. The sound of breathing fills the room. Starmer stands there, still red-faced, chest heaving. You can't be serious. I am entirely serious. Security, please escort the Prime Minister from the chamber floor. And there it is, the moment that will replay for the next 50 years. Two security officers walk toward the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Starmer doesn't move at first. He looks around as if someone, anyone, will intervene. Nobody does. Every MP sits frozen. This is outrageous, Starmer says, but his voice is smaller now. The rage is draining out of him. You engaged in a personal attack, Speaker Hoyle responds. The decision stands. You must leave. The cameras capture every second. The Prime Minister of Great Britain, shoulders slumped, walking toward the exit, flanked by security guards. With every step, his authority evaporates. But the most devastating moment comes as Starmer reaches the door. Nigel Farage speaks again. His voice is quiet, controlled, almost sympathetic. This, Mr. Speaker, is what happens when politicians cannot defend their failures. They lash out, they break down. The people of Britain deserve leadership, not tantrums. The contrast couldn't be more brutal. One man completely lost control. The other stayed calm under the most intense pressure imaginable. Within 60 seconds, the internet explodes. PMT thrown out trends, #1 globally. The footage gets shared 4 million times in the first hour. News channels across every continent interrupt regular programming, but the real destruction is just beginning. Flash polls show Starmer's approval rating collapsing, down 15 points in a single day. For a Prime Minister already underwater with voters, this is a death spiral. In working-class communities across northern England, Labour's heartland, the reaction is savage. Local radio shows get flooded with calls. He's supposed to be our leader, says a Manchester caller. If he can't control himself in Parliament, how can he control the country? Focus groups reveal catastrophic damage. Words like unhinged, unstable, and embarrassing appear repeatedly. Even lifelong Labour voters question whether they can support him anymore. Meanwhile, Reform UK experiences a membership surge unlike anything in modern British political history. Their website crashes from applications. Donation pages can't process the volume. Farage, sensing the shift, holds a press conference outside Parliament 2 hours later. What we witnessed today wasn't just a loss of temper, Farage says, his tone measured and serious. It was a loss of authority, a loss of credibility, and a loss of the basic self-control required to lead a nation during crisis. He pauses, letting the words settle. The Prime Minister had every opportunity to defend his policies with facts and evidence. Instead, he chose personal attacks and emotional outbursts. Britain faces serious challenges: immigration chaos, economic uncertainty, threats to national security. These challenges require steady hands, not unstable reactions. The clip gets shared across every platform. Within 24 hours, over 50 million views worldwide. International reaction comes fast and brutal. President Macron's office expresses concern about political stability in the UK. German Chancellor Scholz diplomatically suggests that steady leadership matters for strong partnerships. American networks run the footage on loop. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC all lead with the story. The Washington Post runs the headline: British PM forcibly ejected from Parliament in unprecedented breakdown. Commonwealth reactions cut deepest. Australia's Prime Minister is asked if he still has confidence in British leadership. His 3-second pause before answering says everything. Britain's centuries-old reputation for stability and reasoned debate takes massive damage on the world stage. Back in Westminster, Labour Party panic sets in fast. Emergency meetings, frantic WhatsApp groups. Deputy Prime Minister Angela Rayner is reportedly furious, feeling Starmer embarrassed not just the party, but the entire country. Other names suddenly get whispered in parliamentary hallways: Wes Streeting, David Lammy, Yvette Cooper. Leadership contenders positioning themselves for a potential vacancy. Conservatives smell blood and call for an immediate vote of no confidence. A Prime Minister who cannot control himself, declares Rishi Sunak, cannot control the country. Constitutional experts raise serious questions. Professor Vernon Bogdanor warns that Starmer's ejection creates unprecedented constitutional concerns. Can a PM, who's been formally removed from the chamber, continue governing effectively? Has the Speaker's authority expanded beyond historical limits? Legal scholars debate whether Starmer's conduct violates the ministerial code seriously enough to warrant formal investigation, and then the silence makes everything worse. For 48 hours after the incident, Starmer releases no statement, no press conference, no interviews, no social media, nothing. The Prime Minister of Britain goes completely dark when leadership is most desperately needed. That silence allows others to control the narrative. Reform UK releases video after video contrasting Farage's composure with Starmer's meltdown. Millions of shares, tens of millions of views. Polling data released 1 week later reveals the true scale of the political earthquake. Labour drops to 28%, their lowest point since the 2019 election disaster. Reform UK surges to 23%, within striking distance of becoming the official opposition party. Conservatives gain ground at 31%. But the most significant number when voters are asked who would make the best Prime Minister. Nigel Farage moves into second place behind Sunak and well ahead of Starmer. For a man who's never held government office, this represents a seismic political realignment. Regional polling tells an even more dramatic story. In traditional Labour strongholds across the north of England, Reform UK is now competitive. In some constituencies, they've moved into first place. The political map of Britain is being redrawn in real time. Media reaction continues hammering Starmer. Even Labour-supporting newspapers struggle to defend what happened. The Guardian calls it a moment of madness that threatens everything Labour stands for. The incident becomes a cultural phenomenon beyond politics. Comedians joke about it on late-night television. Social media floods with memes and remixes. Thrown out of Parliament enters everyday British conversation. But beneath the jokes, something more serious is fracturing. Public trust in political institutions, already damaged after Brexit chaos and revolving door leadership, falls to record lows. Only 23% of Britons express confidence in their political system, the lowest number since modern polling began. Reform UK capitalises relentlessly. Farage launches a national tour of key constituencies, drawing crowds that dwarf anything Labour can assemble. His message stays simple but devastatingly effective. The establishment has failed you. The system is broken. Only reform can provide the steady leadership Britain desperately needs. At rallies across the country, Farage shows footage of Starmer's outburst, then asks, Is this the leadership you voted for? Is this the stability you were promised? The crowd response is always the same. A thunderous, unified no. Labour's damage control efforts fail spectacularly. Spin doctors try framing Starmer's explosion as passionate defence of government policy. Focus groups reject it immediately. Cabinet ministers sent to defend the PM look visibly uncomfortable and unconvincing on television. Private Labour polling reveals the full extent of the crisis. In focus groups, former Labour voters use words like betrayed, embarrassed, and let down. Many say they'll never vote Labour again while Starmer remains leader. 3 weeks after the incident, a group of Labour MPs submits a formal letter of no confidence in Starmer's leadership. The rebellion, led by senior backbenchers, accuses the Prime Minister of bringing disgrace and humiliation to the party. As the political crisis deepens, one thing becomes undeniable. That moment of explosive rage didn't just damage Keir Starmer personally. It changed British politics forever. The old order is collapsing. Something new is rising to replace it. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The constitutional crisis escalates when legal experts discover that Standing Order 43 has never been tested in British courts. Can the Speaker actually eject a sitting Prime Minister? Does Parliament truly have that power over the head of government? Within days, the question reaches the UK Supreme Court. For the first time in modern history, Britain's highest court must decide whether the Speaker of the House of Commons has constitutional authority over the Prime Minister. The ruling could fundamentally reshape the balance of power in British government forever. So here's what I need you to tell me. Will Keir Starmer survive this unprecedented crisis, or are we watching the final days of his government in real time? Could this be the moment Nigel Farage finally breaks through and becomes a legitimate contender for number 10? And what does this constitutional showdown mean for the future of British democracy itself? Drop your predictions in the comments right now. I want to hear what you think happens next in this extraordinary political story. And if this breakdown helped you understand what's really happening in British politics at this critical moment, hit that like button and share this video with anyone who needs to see how fast everything can change. Because this political earthquake isn't over. In fact, it's just getting started.